Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to Australia has denied accusations that he should be investigated for alleged war crimes. Australian Federal Police are reviewing calls by the International Commission of Jurists for an inquiry into crimes committed during the country's bloody civil war. Sri Lanka's top diplomat in Australia was a senior naval officer during the conflict.
Visera Samarasinghe is proud of his naval background and he fiercely rejects the accusations.
I decided to speak because they are baseless.
The Australian chapter of the International Commission of Jurists has sent a brief of evidence to the Federal Police recommending it investigate alleged war crimes during Sri Lanka's civil war. The submission reportedly calls for Sri Lanka's High Commissioner, a former admiral, to be investigated.
High Commissioner, do you have any knowledge of any war crimes committed during the Civil War?
Absolutely no.
The brief of evidence reportedly alleges Sri Lanka's Navy fired on fleeing unarmed civilians in the last months of the Civil War, and as Admiral, it reportedly states that he had a command responsibility for the actions of other sailors. The High Commissioner denies any civilians were deliberately killed, but he says in every conflict there can be casualties.
Unfortunate situations could arise from a conflict of this magnitude.
The Greens say there are numerous eyewitness accounts of the Navy firing directly upon heavily populated areas.
But it's not even just the stories that have been reported to me. There are increasing number of reports that have come out from the United Nations, and now this one from the International Commission of Jurists.
But the High Commissioner says the Tamil Tigers didn't play by any rules.
They had suicide bombers, and we were operating in waters and land areas at time infested with the terrorist boats.
The United Nations estimates 40,000 civilians could have been killed in the final stages of the conflict. The Greens say Australia should add its voice to growing calls for an international war crimes tribunal. And the Australian Tamil Congress says anyone who held a position of power during the conflict should be investigated. Richard Davis, World News, Australia.
And go to SBS Online for